The USASF has released the new age grid for the 2023-24 season, and just like everything else, it's really divisive. So before I go and possibly destroy any credibility and lose all of the potential customers before I even launch this course, I feel this needs to be said. I hope that you stay to the end of the video to hear everything that I say. So I wanted to take time and hear both sides of the argument before I put this video out. When the new age grid was first released, I had my initial thoughts, but I prefer to take some time to detach from the emotional aspect of it, collect my thoughts, and then bring this to you. The biggest change that everyone is talking about is making the Open All-Star Division 18 and older. Now, I've always had questions about why they allowed younger athletes on open teams in the first place. And if I'm not mistaken, it was designed to allow college-aged athletes and older a chance to compete with an all-star gym. You know, for those that had finished our collegiate cheer career, it was a great opportunity to stay competitive in the sport. And as a former gym owner, I completely understand that it allows the opportunity to retain your higher level athletes if you don't have enough in your gym to field an upper level team. And when you are a gym, no matter your size, every athlete helps. You're a small business. You are in business to make money. So every athlete that comes through your doors matter. I had a few teams where I had to put younger kids on senior teams. To be honest, I never felt comfortable with it. But ultimately, it was something that me and my coaches all agreed to do. But only, and I mean only, if their parents were okay with it, and we had a chance to meet with the older athletes on the team first. You see, it was important to us that our older athletes were mindful about their conversations around the younger ones. We all know that there's just some things a 6th or 7th grader should not be hearing from juniors and seniors in high school. And I also know that as coaches, we can't control everything that they say when we're not around. So it can be a dangerous situation. So that's why, for me personally, I wasn't comfortable with doing what we did. But the parents were okay with it, and they supported us. And thank God that nothing bad happened that season. And I give credit to that, to the culture that my coaches and I were able to create. And there are so many gyms doing that as well. I don't want to lose sight of that. There are so many gyms doing the right things for the right reasons. Gyms that have created a culture of safety for their athletes and their families. So this is a massive shift that could really damage their business. Another example came from my good friend, Ashley Steinberger. When a coach from the gym is on an open team, it changes the team dynamic. The coach-athlete relationship is a lot different from an athlete-athlete relationship. This can lead to the team not bonding as well and the ultimate failure of the team's success. Ashley told me that as someone who was on an open team as a college student with 14-year-olds and coaches, she felt that there was a major disconnect on the team, and everyone felt it. Coaches being on the team also may start some drama because they are coaches by trade, and they may try to contribute too much from a coach's perspective rather than just being an athlete. And I definitely can relate to that point because the last year that I cheered in college, we had several all-star coaches that cheered on our team and constantly second-guessed our coach because he made decisions that they would do differently. It caused a huge chemistry issue, and we went from defending NCAA champions to 10th place in 1 year. Team chemistry can affect your results more than you realize. Another example, a coach in a football game does not play with the players. In some sports, there are different teams for different ages. This same idea can work for cheer. If adults still want to cheer after high school or college, they should be on a team with people who are similar to them in mindset and skill set. Just like there are adult sports leagues that kids and teens can't join. Cheerleading could have its own leagues for adults only, which I think is what the open division was designed for. However, we need to detach from that for a second. Unfortunately, I feel that the cheer industry has a very short memory. Just a few months ago, everyone was screaming and boycotting the governing bodies because they failed to act with certain gyms and coaches. Kids were hurt and scarred for life. And some of those scars are going to stay with them for a lifetime. Lawsuits have been filed, and it has really hurt an industry that so many people have worked hard to build up. Not to mention the other high-profile incidents over the last couple of years. Things needed to change, and in a big way. So, the question becomes, is this it? Well, it's a start. There are age restrictions in sports to protect young athletes from physical, emotional, and psychological harm. These restrictions aim to ensure that young athletes are competing at an appropriate level that is suitable for their age, their development, and skill level. One of the main reasons for age restrictions is to protect young athletes from physical harm. And I'm not talking about the dangers of a high school football player playing against a senior in college or someone in the NFL. I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about keeping younger athletes safe from potential inappropriate relationships. Remember, even though you have been very thorough in your hiring process, it's not just coaches that might be on the open team. You'll probably have to have other collegiate cheerleaders from your area, and the wider net that's being cast to bring in talented cheerleaders for your team, the more dangerous it could possibly be. Another reason for age restrictions is to ensure that young athletes are competing in an environment that is appropriate for their emotional and psychological development. When young athletes are on a team with older athletes, they may face some challenges for the mental health as well. Because let's face it, they're just not emotionally or mentally mature as those older athletes. For example, feeling bad about themselves. Younger athletes may feel scared or not good enough when they compete with older, more experienced athletes. Number 2, stress. Competing with older athletes can make young athletes feel more worried or anxious. Number 3, losing interest. If young athletes don't feel that they're competing at a level that's right for them, you run the risk that they'll lose their love for the sport. Our goal as coaches is to retain and grow our athletes from a young age. If they lose their love for the sport, they're going to leave it altogether. And number 4, feeling lonely. Young athletes may feel isolated and that they don't belong on a team. Number 5, lack of confidence. Young athletes may not feel sure of themselves if they can't keep up with the older cheerleaders or if they always feel like they're not as good. It's important for coaches, parents, and gyms to understand these problems and to help our young athletes as much as we can. This can mean giving young athletes a chance to compete on teams that are right for their age, create a supportive and friendly team environment, and offering help and resources for mental health and their well-being. Sometimes things need to be torn down in order to build it back up even stronger. I know that this can hurt a lot of gyms in our industry. It probably would have hurt mine, but I feel this is a step in the right direction on making sure our kids feel safe and that we can regain the trust from their parents. So, what can we do as coaches and gym owners to adapt to this change? I think this allows us to really sit down with our staff and get creative. Brainstorm together on what you can do so this makes you stronger. Let me tell you a story. There's a company that's on the verge of bankruptcy for several reasons. 1, poor financial performance. They were facing declining sales and revenue, and they were struggling to compete with other companies in their industry. Number 2, a lack of innovation. They were seen as a company that was no longer producing innovative products. The company was relying on outdated technology and was not keeping up with the rapid pace of change in their industry. Number 3 was the competition. They were facing intense competition from other industry companies. These companies were producing similar products at a lower cost, and they were quickly gaining market share. Number 4 was mismanagement. The company was facing internal issues, including mismanagement, lack of direction, and poor leadership. This was affecting the company's ability to compete and innovate. Number 5, their product line was limited. The company was relying on one specific product line, which was facing declining sales and was not as seen as innovative. This was the late 1990s. This is when their former CEO returned with one clear vision. He used his creativity and outside-the-box thinking to create new products and services that would appeal to the customers. Now, fast forward to 2001. The iPod was invented, and that changed the course of our culture. You see, Steve Jobs' ability to adapt and change and use his creativity to make Apple's products better is a testament to his leadership skills and his vision. He saw the potential for Apple to become a leader in the tech industry and took the necessary steps to make it a reality. Under his leadership, Apple became one of the most valuable companies in the world, and it continues to be a leader in innovation and creativity. You have that creative instinct in you. We all do. Some are stronger than others. So utilize your staff so that you can think outside the box to make sure this change doesn't hurt your business. Maybe you don't rely on one product line like your All-Star program. Maybe you put your focus on building up your classes, camps, and clinics. Develop new ways to generate revenue to make up for this loss of revenue in your business. Remember, while you are in business to make money, at the end of the day, you're also in business to serve, protect, and develop your customers. Your older kids can still cheer, even if they're on a small team. There are smaller divisions for teams that aren't very big. You can still do well even if you don't have a lot of people, all by making the most of the athletes you have. There are many ways to solve this problem, even if people don't realize it. I want to challenge you to take this as an opportunity to stand out and grow as a leader in your community and this industry. Find a new way of doing things. Let's stand together as coaches to challenge the USASF to go deeper with their solution. This is a great first step, but there is more that they can do, and I'm sure they know that. Maybe they can put more restrictions on the extra small division that can help the micro to small gyms be able to be more competitive with fewer athletes. Change isn't bad. Sometimes it can force us to create new solutions for old problems. So let's work together and continue to keep our kids safe, but also growing our industry stronger than ever before. Remember, legacy outlasts applause. So go impact someone's life in a positive way today, and let's change the industry for the better.